Welcome back to the podcast. You, of course, are now listening to Welcome to Beacon Hills, a Southgate Media Group podcast dedicated to all things Teen Wolf over on MTV. I am one of your lacrosse captains, co-captains, that is, Lily, and joining me, as always, is...
Dawn, with no lacrosse.
Well, it's coming. Coach is back next episode, y'all.
I can't tell you how excited I am about that. And the fact that I'm definitely going to be tweaking my bingo card.
Greenberg!
Oh, I wouldn't mind a reference of him either.
Let's talk about this episode. We're talking about 516 liability. Notice that it is 2 words and not one. Corny.
Whatever. I didn't even get it. Like, so somebody has the ability to lie? This is new? What?
I know. I didn't really get it. I guess it was more about Deucalion or something. I don't even know anymore. But I was excited to see that because this was technically like a 2-parter that they kept Russell McCauley on as the director for this episode as well for a cohesive looking effect. Eric Wallace, who is a longtime Teen Wolf collaborator, wrote this one. And because the other wiki let me down, we only have what the Teen Wolf press release says. Trapped in Eichen House with Theo and his Chimera pack, Scott and his pack must try to rescue Lydia before it's too late. And I think that sums it up pretty well for a change, actually.
Yeah, as you're saying, it's basically 2 packs working together to keep Lydia from A-bombing out. Yeah. That's about right.
I contend that somebody save Lydia from Jeff Davis. Please.
I just want the other writer back. She rocked. New person. You're the only new person in Teen Wolf I like. Please come back.
I could settle for Angela. I tend to like Angela L. Harvey's episodes as well. There tends to be a lot more character moments, especially between Scott and Styles. So, obviously that's where I live and breathe. So I prefer.
Oh yeah.
This episode. Let's talk about the highlights first.
Okay. Well, there are a lot.
Lydia's alive and out.
That's always a highlight. There's no doubt about that. That has got to be one of the best things ever. And it is a highlight for me. Although I think that there are some really strong things in here, almost all of which happen in the last 15 minutes of the episode.
Really like 10, but yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, basically from the 30-minute mark, I loved this episode. 1 through 28-ish, not so much. So, let's go to the things that are really, really awesome. Let's start with a big one. Valak dies. Thank goodness. I am so happy. If the man shows up with half a face next episode, I might literally kill someone.
She's going to make that flight.
I might. There's not enough socks or brain bleach in the world for me to handle more Valak exposition. So
I loved that he got his just desserts. I love how apropos his death was.
Oh, it was perfect. I was like, good. If I can't have people beheaded, this is the next best thing.
Actually, I think I like it better than beheaded. Just
I don't care.
The whole brain.
There's that slight ability that because he's supernatural, he could grow his brain back again, but most people can't grow their head back on their shoulders, so. Oh, no. He can put on the mask. No, he can't because Theo stole it. Yay, you, Theo! Keeping him from ever coming back. Thank you.
Another highlight for me was Malia. Oh my god, like when Electro Fetish Boy and Corey show up and she's like, you first. He's like, you first. She's like, all right, same time.
I gotta say that, this is the first time that douchey was anything less than douchey, so I like that one too, and I love how Malia's smart about it. She's not just gonna do the right thing and hope that, some guy who's never done the right thing in this episode so far, not episode, this series so far, is going to finally turn around and do it. Let's just say that she learned from her Theo experience.
And she learned from Scott and took it one step further.
Mm-hmm. Smart woman. I do love that. And I love that we continued with some Malia and Kira, and they were still part of the plan kind of thing.
Definitely.
I'm going to give kudos out to Meredith. For once, she was one of the few people with actual knowledge who was not cryptic. Was like, oh, so that's how it's supposed to be. You ask a question, they give you a straight answer. Wow! It's amazing how that works so much better.
And she actually showed him.
Yes. Yes.
Show, not tell.
It was amazing. I was like, whew. Now that's more like a plan. You go to someone, they actually give you information. Fantastic.
I actually really, really enjoyed the Styles and Theo interaction because Styles was just the audience. Like, shut up. Just shut up. I know you're full of it. Just do this one thing and let's just forget it.
I actually had some problems with some of the Styles and Theo scenes because they felt like it was filler and I didn't have any clue why we were stopping in the middle of trying to save Lydia to explain 600 billion things. And so that's going to be something I'm going to talk about negative, but I did really, really love the part where Styles is just like, break the pipe. And he's looking at him like, what? And he's like, listen, you idiot. Sound. Break it. You'll hear better. And Theo's just like, oh. I'm a big fan of Smart Styles, so that one really worked for me. One that's unusual that worked for me was a small moment, and that was Liam trusting that Mason would come through for them. And he just totally goes after it, and Scott's like, wait, and Styles is like, hey, buddy, no! And, Liam's just like, I trust my boy. Breaks right through. Told you so. I'm not a big fan of Liam, as you all know, but that was a good little bromance moment.
For me, I think finding out that the nurse's name was Nurse Cross, like that just made me chuckle so hard.
Somebody got it right.
Also, massive orderly. I was watching the credits for some random reason. I just because I wanted to know, I wanted to know the nurse's name, and then right after that, it was massive orderly. I'm like, oh, Teen Wolf, I love you.
Well, if we're going to talk about Massive Orderly, then I will say that Liam made my plus list twice in this episode.
It's twice. The end of the world as we know it.
That song where the only thing anybody knows about that song is the chorus.
Yep.
I loved Liam's proud. He's so proud of himself for taking out the two orderlies. He's just like, oh, I'm so awesome. And then he turns around and he's like, oh no. That was just hilarious. That was one of the better parts of the first half.
Definitely. I love Theo throwing the pipe through Parrish. Don't judge me.
No, I have that on my list too.
We're terrible.
And it's not for the reasons that people are thinking. I like it because it was starting to feel like Parrish was going to be some big old MacGuffin. That he was going to be like the thing that nothing could take down. And, if he goes evil, we're all screwed. And he didn't fall from Canema venom. The electricity has no effect. Mountain ash has no effect. I was like, finally, something can take him down and it's just a lead pipe. I'm good.
He got his idea from Styles. I'll credit Styles for that one.
Okay. One of the things that I loved was that they actually had a plan B.
Yeah.
Instead of just hoping that plan A worked and, eventually trying to just figure something out on the fly. They had a plan B. The plan B would have worked if they had done more research. And, it was just, they're getting smarter in the way that they plan. And I think that is highly important.
Definitely. Another thing that I liked is when Scott and Liam light Parrish on fire.
Okay, you have us. Hate mail goes to her, not me.
Just saying. Jeff
Uh,
White, well, he's the new Derek. He gets to be tortured with his shirt off.
a lot. Lots of shirtless Parrish. Okay. Well, then I will throw in something that I'm sure the fans aren't going to be real excited about either. I love when Theo kicks the door in like a boss. Styles is like putting his non-supernatural fist, banging like it's really going to work. Is that going to help you at all, Styles? I mean, come on. You've been doing this for
Sometimes it
10 minutes.
does. For Styles, things happen sometimes.
10 minutes! He's doing the same thing for 10 minutes. Albert Einstein would call that crazy. So, and then Theo just comes up and he's like, let me. All right, we're in.
I actually liked Mason this episode because it shows that he's not the perfect little angel, do any and everything for the McCall pack, because he really didn't want to wreck his car.
I have that on my list too, because that monologue was awesome. It was the humor we needed. It was like, ooh, style snark, loving it. Ooh, Mason monologue, making me laugh. That's good too. Yeah, I don't particularly like anything that happens after the monologue, but the monologue was awesome. Let's throw it out. Big old kudos for continuity in this episode. Like, amazing. They
Wait,
still
Flo
couldn't go.
stopped by?
Hmm?
Flo actually stopped by this show?
She did. She stopped and stayed. She was here for most of the episode, not the whole thing, but most of it. But the mountain ash still was a barrier, even though that Scott went all alpha eyes. I thought that was going to just go down. So it was nice that remained the way it was before. Kira's powers are still going berserk in Icon House instead of it being, oh, well, now we're done, yay. And we got the claws back to talk to Meredith again. So, and specifically with that part of it, I really, really like how Scott is concerned about hurting Meredith if he claws her, which is totally different than what happened with Screamer. So I was like, oh, even Scott's back to the way he's supposed to be. Good.
Okay, I know some people didn't like it, but I actually like Natalie Martin picking up the taser, and it actually comes into play at the end of the episode.
People didn't like that?
Because she was the one that put Lydia in there in the first place.
Oh my goodness, that's my favorite part of the episode. Science Mom totally taking it to Tracy and then being like, get my daughter out of here. She was so kick butt in that moment. I was like, woo, she might actually join Team Parent. I like this. Every parent can have some issues. Sheriff wasn't all that great about the whole supernatural thing in 5A. So, but that's my favorite part. I love Miss Science Mom going through and being like, you're not touching my daughter. My daughter's been through enough, and I'm protecting her, and you all can just go to hell. That's pretty much what she's doing. I'm like, yes. Love it. I can't believe people didn't like that.
Yeah. I mean, people are very 50-50 about Natalie right now because of the way that her actions have been shown.
Oh, I'm 50-50 about her, too. I think she's shady. I think that she knows more than she's saying and that she is more than she's saying.
Definitely.
She's got some background here that we don't know about. So, Natalie, she's definitely shady.
You got some explaining to do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, but that does not in any way negate the fact that that was a fantastic scene. And since we're getting to the stuff that actually was really, really fantastic instead of just like I liked it, here we go. Best moment of the night. Styles throws his body over Lydia's to protect her from the breaking glass. Aw, buddy, that's just so sweet. That was the sweetest thing you did, and you did a lot of sweet in this.
I think another thing that I really like that I think a lot of the fandom didn't really like. I get why they don't like it, but I also get why it was said. It's when Lydia sees her mom and they embrace, and then Lydia says, "He saved my life, Mom. Styles saved me." Yes, it was a pack effort, but this thing was twofold because Natalie blamed Styles to his face when he was at Icon House. And also his dad said that he would feel better about what happened with Donovan once he saved a life.
Right. Well, I think I liked it too. And it's in my most controversial part. And I totally, totally think that, Lydia will thank everybody on the team because everybody on the team is responsible. There's no doubt about that. But for me, it came down to the fact that in the hospital, her mom is going after Styles. In Eichenhaus, her mom goes after Styles. Those of the pack, the only person who has any connection to Lydia's mom is Styles and Sheriff. So I think that it was an important distinction because Lydia wakes up, she sees her mom, she knows Styles is there. For me, I think it was great crisis control. She doesn't want her mom to kick out Styles. So I think it had more to do with the fact that it was Natalie than it had anything to do with the fact of shipping or ship baiting or whatever you want to call it. I think that it really was Lydia acknowledging to her mom that these people are an important part of her life and, trying to get her mom to see the pack from the same way that she does. And for Natalie, the face of the pack is Styles, not Scott.
Like most of the fandom. Anyway.
She said that. I didn't say that.
I'm just saying. Anyway, moving right along to another little moment that I actually really liked. It's when Parrish saves Lydia and Styles gets kind of blown back. Scott is actually there and kind of catches him.
Oh, fantastic moment.
I didn't see that coming at all. I didn't
see Parrish coming at all, so.
Oh, I saw that a million miles away.
I didn't see him coming that quickly. I didn't see him being right there, so I was like, whoa, you ghosting or what? You just showed up?
Walk out a different frequency, Dawn.
I think he pulled a screamer. Just walk right out of the walls. Here we go. But yeah, I thought that was fantastic too. That's one of my favorite moments. And if we didn't have Styles covering Lydia, that would win my award for best moment. It was just fantastic. It was great bromance a little bit in there too. All right, one of my favorite things is Styles' line about not paying for the windows.
Yes.
It's just so classic. Everything's intense and he's getting these kudos and everybody's looking at him. So what does Styles do? Go for a little snarky remark. Oh yeah, that's my Styles.
Well, since we're still in that scene, I just want to talk about how well the tension worked because honest to goodness, I was like 50-50 about if Lydia was going to make it. Because
really?
Reasons. The tension was all ratcheted up. Plus, we've kind of kept Lydia in this coma the whole season. It felt very Allison at the moment, and the music was ratcheting up. And Deaton's like, oh crap, how am I going to explain this to Scott?
Really? I had no doubt that Lydia was going to make it through this. Mostly because, it's not the end of the season.
Well, the end of the season is actually coming, and we're ending on a supposedly kind of happy note and anticlimactic. So that's what Jeff said in a couple of interviews. So that's why I was thinking that.
Have we established now that nothing that Jeff says can ever be trusted? Nothing.
Some things. Things that he emphasizes are flat out lies. Little kernels and breadcrumbs. That's what you need to focus on.
Yeah, I don't know. I like that. Not the tension of it, but I like the acting of Dylan O'Brien when he's telling Lydia that she needs to breathe. And then we get a reaction shot from Deaton and then from Scott and then Styles again. And then she breathes and we get more reaction shots. And I like all those reaction shots. I like the emotion of the scene. I just thought that whole scene played really well.
I actually liked Hayden for a moment in this episode, and it's when she gives Decalion the canum of venom. I'm like, thank you!
I have that too.
Shut that man up!
I have that too. He didn't shut up fast enough either.
He's like a baby on the plane. Somebody shut that baby up!
Oh, it's just, he was too much. He's always too much. It's not even a surprise anymore. So, yeah, that was the only time that I liked Hayden in this entire episode. The only time. Love the mom and daughter hug, but since you kind of talked about that, I'm going to talk about another little bromance moment. Happens in the Jeep. Styles is holding Lydia and she screams and he's still holding her and she's like, oh, you're bleeding. And everybody else is all about the Styles and Lydia interaction at that point. My favorite part of that scene is Lydia says that Styles isn't going to make it. Styles touches the blood. Scott looks back and he punches that Jeep. And they're like racing at that point. You know, yes, it's about Lydia, but it was totally about Styles too. And I love that bromance part.
Scott driving the Jeep again.
Yeah, I have some questions and concerns about that, but that moment when he's punching it, because he knows that it's not just Lydia's in trouble, but Styles is in trouble too. And I'm like, oh, my bromance.
Our golden trio actually gets a moment together.
Yes.
Yep, so do you have any other things you want to talk about in highlights, or shall we move to the lowlights?
I'm done with the highlights.
Yes! Okay. Really? It had to be Parrish?
I am okay with it being Parrish.
I mean, all he did was basically cover her in his chesticles? Really?
I am not okay with the fact that he could take on the A-bomb blast and it end up being a big tease. I don't care that it was Parrish. I think it was sloppy writing. Yeah. And even worse coming after that is we have that sloppy writing of Parrish taking on the blast. And then, yes, I know that Parrish is, paralyzed with Canema Venom, which makes very little sense because as a hellhound, he's not. So why don't they just set him on fire again and send him with Lydia in the Jeep so that he can keep her screams from affecting everybody else too? It makes zero sense from a common sense standpoint, and I just hate when things are illogical. I realize it would kill the big Styles-Lydia shipping, non-shipping, friendship, whatever moment. But if he is proven to be the only person who can take on Lydia's scream, he ought to have been in that car with her. Period. And it would have ruined everything. But we have already established that Canema Venom doesn't work on a hellhound. So, come on, people. Really?
Maybe he was still weakened from that lead pipe. Maybe lead is a hellhound's downfall.
And you know what? I'd be fine with that because lead is plentiful, and that means we can take out Parrish whenever we need to. And we're going to need to. I mean, it's pretty much got to be where that's going. Don't you think?
I don't think so. I think Jeff likes to pander to his fans, so I don't think Parrish is going anywhere.
Well, I don't think he's going to die or get out of there, but I do think he's going to go out of control when it comes to the Beast. Because if not, then the central conflict of the entire season is Parrish versus the Beast. And that puts the team out on the outsides. So it almost feels like they need Parrish to take down the Beast, and then Scott's pack is going to have to take down Parrish. Not take down to kill, but take down to get him into control, similar to how the Firefox has taken over Kira. And then the pack also to defeat a newly powered Theo. Yes. It almost feels like it has to go that way.
Because I want it to be Scott. I still have hope that he'll finally evolve into something. That line has been bothering the hell out of me.
A hellhound?
No, just evolve into something that can defeat the Beast.
See, I don't think that's going to happen because all of the lore is all about how it has to be a hellhound. There's no purpose for this hellhound thing if it doesn't.
We've had a lot of non-purpose stuff, so we'll see how it goes.
That's true. I just think that, we can't have the main conflict be Parrish and anyone because Parrish just isn't that important. Despite how much his fans love him, he's just not. He's not part of the pack.
He's not even a team.
Yeah. So he just has to, he's going to be important. There's no way around that. But there has to be something that happens after that fight that gives the pack a central role in solving this whole thing this season.
I hope you're right because sometimes Jeff really likes to just go out of left field and forget what the show who the main characters are sometimes. So,
But that's never happened in a season finale, with the exception of Liam changing Scott from being a berserker.
yeah.
And that was what, 3.2 seconds of suck. So, and then more stuff happened after that. I mean, then it went back to Hayden, or not Hayden, went back to Scott taking down Peter.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they've never had a season finale where it wasn't up to the pack to save them. And I don't think that's going to change.
I hope not, because this was like supposed to be the final season, and then they did get greenlit. So,
well, if it was the final season, they most certainly would not have put team back.
He's like, here's some salt for that wound, guys.
Yeah, nobody would do that. In the very last scene will be Scott. Period.
Period.
I would assume Styles too, if Styles is still on the show, but the very last scene will be Scott.
Well, period. I think if Dylan O'Brien decides to leave, I think he will absolutely come back and do that. Or they might shoot it. Well, they're still shooting 6, right? So they might shoot it ahead of time or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know. All I know is that we begin with Scott, we end with Scott, period. Yeah. Well, we begin with Scott and Styles, and we better end with Scott and Styles, but that one's a little bit more iffy. All right.
Valak? Are we going to talk about Valak?
Can we talk about whether the worst thing is first?
Oh, that's not your worst thing?
Oh, heck no. Not even close. He might not be... He's not in the top 3. Well, he's part of number 2, so I guess he is part of that. Okay. Number 1, the very worst thing that happened in this episode that had 0 point whatsoever, and he's just stuck in there for no reason whatsoever, is Hayden and Liam's sex scene.
Oh my
God! The heck?
Yes! Worst hashtag ever, by the way. Puppy style? These kids are literally only 16.
Oh, my eyes were burning. My brain was melting. My socks had all been thrown, and it was the first 7 minutes.
It was seriously the worst, most awkward, disgusting thing.
Oh, first off, I never, ever need to watch kids having sex, period. Never. That's just all kinds of creepy voyeur kind of stuff. But second off, we just went from Valak snatching Lydia and taking her into the tunnels. And all of a sudden we come back from the title sequence and we've got Liam and Hayden screwing. Screw that.
I didn't know what the heck happened. I was like, wait, did they really just do that? A flashback?
What? And a flashback that has 0 purpose whatsoever. None. We already knew that Hayden was conflicted about things, and she didn't even go to save Scott. She went to save her boyfriend. I don't care about Hayden and Liam, and even people who do care about Hayden and Liam should be really annoyed that this scene was in this episode.
Because it grinded everything to a halt.
Oh, I've never seen the momentum of a show stop as suddenly as that.
No. Laurel and Oliver, season 1 of Arrow.
I don't know. I think this is worse. Because it was like, what the heck? Do we have more important things? Yes, we do. And the only thing I could think of is this writer didn't have enough things to fill out this episode, which is insane because it is an Eichen House breakout with 20,000 people in the freaking Eichen House who all need time to have their story told. So what the heck was this? Okay. I've never been so annoyed at a scene in Teen Wolf in my life. Not even the freaking bowling stuff.
Okay, I'll see you, the Liam and Hayden. It's the shower scene. Like, really? You have all these patients on lockdown in the shower, half naked and alone? Okay, Jeff, I see you. I see you, boo. Stop it.
I don't even know what that was.
The tunnels are underneath. Okay.
The tunnels are everywhere.
I just quit.
I didn't even understand the purpose of that. They're all, like, definitely emotionally abused puppies, but I didn't understand why I was watching them or what their purpose was, or if I was going back to that story. Because if I'm not going back to their story, and if that story doesn't have some huge impact on the rest of the season, that was a complete waste of
I
time.
have the answer. It's because somebody thought that we were too stupid that if half naked boys weren't in there, we wouldn't know that it was a shower room.
Really?
That's the only thing that I could possibly come up with.
Well, and there's no. It didn't have to be a shower room. It could be any freaking room in the entire Icon house. So I don't get it. I think they were trying to show us that things were bad at Icon House, but you know what? We've been there since season 3. We get it. We got it. We're good with it.
Somebody needs to close it down. We're on it.
Yes.
Get Sheriff. That way he doesn't have to pay the bill.
Yes. Oh, I mean, the whole thing. It didn't even make any sense. The whole first half of this episode, actually more than half, the first 2/3 of this episode, was all pointless. So, number 2 on my list of sucky things that happened in this episode would be all the exposition. Oh my goodness. I realize we didn't have that much exposition in the last one, but that doesn't mean we need to drown the first half of this episode in exposition. What did we really learn from all that Valak exposition? I mean, really, did we learn anything new? No.
That's my biggest problem. Nothing came of it. We don't even know who the beast. Like, I feel like we should have known who the beast is at the end of this episode.
I don't care who the beast is. I really don't. I have about as much care about the beast as I do about steampunk scientists. What I want to know is, why am I listening to Valak whine like a freaking baby about how the steampunk scientist ruined his life and nobody gets that he's not a horrible monster? And while we're at it, I don't want to hear about how Theo was just tricked into killing his sister, and he's really not a monster. He was just a little kid, and you can't blame him for that. And while we're at it, no kidding. While we're at it, I don't care about Duquesne just wanting to be friends, and they can get together and make everything fabulous. What up with all these whiny villains? I'm tired of whiny villains. Own your craziness, and let's go.
It's like season 8 of Supernatural, where none of the monsters could be monsters.
Oh, it was so whiny. They're all pointless. Not one new thing came out of Deucalion and Hayden. Not one new thing came out of Valak and Lydia. Nothing came out of Theo's little inner temper tantrum. I swear. This is what I got out of it. I got that he got injected with human blood like Crowley and suddenly turned human and he just wanted to be loved. Oh my goodness. Shut up, all of you. It was so freaking annoying. And that whole thing with Theo, I love Theo, by the way. I do. I think he's a fantastic villain. But if you are even walking down a redemption road for him, you just need to, check yourself into Icon House because you're crazy. Just nuts. Ugh. No redemption for Theo, and stop the freaking exposition. Whoever wrote this sucked it up. This is a writing problem and not anything else. And now I'm done.
Yeah, all that Valak stuff was a rehash. Like, if they had to get that Damnatio Memoriae thing in, didn't they? They just had to.
Yes, they
it's like
did.
The drinking game for the writer's room or something.
You know what? At this point, if it wasn't too late, it would already be a bingo square. Actually, I think I'm going to put someone mentions a show title.
Yes, because it happens every episode.
Every time.
Oh, so yeah. Those are my biggest beefs with the episode. Anything else you want to talk about?
Oh, plenty. Plenty. All right. Pierce was getting way too big for his supernatural britches there. Glad they stayed on, by the way. And Theo's crew is all like, you want us to what? Seriously, why are they following this clown? Why? At this point, I would turn to him and go, okay, you first. It makes zero sense. Scott can't lie to save his life on that walkie-talkie. I mean, There's some bad lying in this show, but that was just pathetic. That was like his first, werewolf scream over the PA system. Pathetic.
Oh, ouch.
Oh, it was terrible. Okay, Kira, love you. Stop screwing up my life with all your self-doubt. I do not need to hear another internal monologue about how you can't do something. Just do it. Embrace the Nike slogan and do it. They paid for the whole freaking town. All right? I'm not a fan of Douchey having feelings for someone other than himself. I'm just not. He's supposed to be evil. Let him be evil. Tracy is evil. Nobody seems to have a problem with that. So, Douchey, stick to your being a complete jerk and, only care about yourself. Theo, explaining away killing his own sister. Really? Are we supposed to fall for this?
At 9? Who the heck believes in Santa Claus at 9?
Well, I will tell you that from personal experience, people do, because I got in trouble for that when I started teaching elementary school. But there is a big difference between Santa, believing in Santa, the good elf who brings you presents, and scary people in masks telling you that your sister needs to die and you need to take her heart. Really? 9-year-olds get the concept of death. That's not something he's not 5. So what the heck, people? Not to mention, if somebody told me that my sister really wanted me to have her heart, and, maybe say I'm nuts and I start believing there because I just don't get that part. But let's just say it happened. Wouldn't the first thing you do be go to your sister to talk about it? It would not be watching her die, freeze to death. So, sorry, you are a psychopath, period, and let's just move on from that.
I also think they messed up Theo's timeline, too. I'm just saying.
Possibly.
Oh, Teen Wolf can't keep a timeline straight to save her.
Well, there's a lot of little things in here that made me go, yeah, I don't know about that.
Well, that's how we know Theo's just a lying piece of crap. Just let it be that.
Well, I am seriously concerned that they are trying to come up with some redemption road for him because he's hot. That is, by the way, the only reason why anybody would ever think of a redemption road for Theo.
You mean hot? Teen Wolf logic?
Hot does not mean good. Let's get that straight, fandom. Let's just get that straight. Seriously. Ted Bundy was considered a good-looking man. You wouldn't want to hop in a van with him now, would you? So, come on.
Nice. Yeah. Serial killer reference. And it wasn't
Everything Valak sucked. Everything Hayden sucked, including her new ability to fly. Seriously? Just put the tights on and let's go. What the heck
I think
was
this
that?
is the wrong network for that. This is not CW.
Ugh. What the heck was that? I don't even get that. It's like, seriously? Why are we suddenly making Hayden the biggest plot device around? Parrish is bad enough. We do not need Hayden to be super chick.
Well, Hayden's going to take over Theo's pack when they get rid of him.
Oh, I'm sure she is. And then I won't care about that pack still.
Well, some people like her.
I don't care if they like her or not. She doesn't need to fly.
What is she? She's a wheeljagger.
Jaguars can't fly.
That was a really big leap.
Yes,
literally.
Very big leap. And I'm not talking about the actual leap she took.
I think it was a shark underneath her.
Oh, it's like somebody had some kind of, I don't know. It wouldn't surprise me if Cisco was designing boots for her or something. I don't even know what that was. Just stop. The whole Parrish thing makes no sense, so we already talked about that. Theo in the helmet. Oh my goodness. Seriously, buddy? It's not like you can put it on, so what good is this going to do you again? Because if you talk Tracy into putting that helmet on her head, she deserves what she gets.
Well, yeah.
It's just that simple. So unless you suddenly put it on Hayden and she becomes the super, super, super chick, then I don't care about that freaking helmet either. And then my last one is Justin.
Put it on Deucalion. Yes.
That's what I was thinking, and that's going to be a problem because then he will become Demon Wolf again and have the power of the steampunk scientists, and then I'm going to have to deal with that freaking nutcase still. Freaking nutcase of overacting. Seriously? Oh, by the way, this is just an aside. Feel free to cut it out if you want. Deucalion played Fiona's brother in my favorite episode of Burn Notice. And I was going through Burn Notice stuff again, and I was like, oh, that's Duke!
Really?
Yeah! I was like, oh my goodness. You were better in this one. And you were kind of annoying in this one.
Yeah.
So, anyway, side note. All right. My last thing that I don't like about this episode, I do have some things in the question mark area, but the last thing I don't like about this episode is a nitpick. How does Scott not know how to drive a stick shift when he road tripped in that Jeep last week? Come on. It's not like Styles is going to be like, sure, keep driving. You don't know how to drive this thing. Okay. What was that?
Scott gets nervous and performance. He has performance issues. We all know this.
I don't know. All I know is you don't get to drive the Jeep anymore because she is way too precious for your heavy-handed feet.
Burn out the clutch! Burn it out!
Did we not already establish that there is no cheap mechanic in Beacon Hills? So either you bite, a mechanic and make him a beta, or you leave the freaking Jeep alone. You do not need to ever be in the driver's seat.
Okay, my last little thing was mistletoe. Really? God, they brought back the mistletoe.
Well, at least it was something we'd heard of before. I was afraid it was going to be green wolfsbane.
I was afraid it was going to be pink wolfsbane.
Oh, I was actually okay with mistletoe because
as a cork in the whole of
No, that was goofy. I'm with Styles there. She has a hole in her head, but I was glad that it wasn't a wolfsbane byproduct.
Yes. So, I guess we can get to the episode awards or the grade. Whatever you want to do first.
Either one.
Okay, let's talk about the grade. For me, it's a B-. There's lots of stuff that I liked, but of course, a lot of Teen Wolf logic and fan waking ensued. But it was still really good. I'm glad that Lydia's with the pack. I'm glad that we're finally moving on from this whole thing and that Lydia is back where she belongs. And there's a lot of great character interactions and character development that continue from last episode. I really, really love the look and the feel of this episode. Thank you, Russell McCauley. But enough with the exposition. Enough with Deucalion. Like, this is just the worst choice. I'd rather Chris and Gerard be talking because at least I get Chris.
That's true. Good point. Because this is Hayden. That's not a win. Oh. Well, first off, when I was doing my review of this episode, I've called it the hardest Teen Wolf episode for me to grade, and it really is, because the first part sucked so bad, and the second part was so awesome that it's hard for me to come up with a grade. So, in the end, I decided that the first half was a C minus, the second half was a B plus A minus, so averaged out, it is a B minus. So I agree with you. I'm at a B minus on this one.
You just pulled a Lilith.
I was like, seriously, how do you take sucks so bad I want to poke my eyes out to, wow, this is awesome.
Most improved during an episode award?
Yes. I think that is it, because this episode, to be totally honest, I missed part of this episode because I was busy doing other things. And I don't do other things in Teen Wolf.
I know! I'm shocked. Yeah.
I didn't even play Teen Wolf Bingo because I was so bored. I was off, fiddling around with other stuff. And it's like, oh, how did we go from last episode, yay, to, ooh, what's this? And then once we hit the 30 mark, it was like, oh, this is Teen Wolf I love. Well, total attention now.
It's plain and simple that this episode didn't need to be a two-parter.
Well, this episode needed to focus on the secondary characters more if they were just going to throw in filler that had no business to be in there. Well, to be totally honest, we could have had more Lydia. We could have had more Styles. We could have had more Scott. We could have, even Theo, if he would stop his freaking whining, They had plenty of things to be doing in this episode. Heck, we could add more Mason. He didn't need to be a complete shock that came out of nowhere.
But that's part of the heist trope too. Like, oh, when something goes wrong, there's the backup that we never told you about.
That we finally get, because before we didn't. But in all honesty, we could have had Arjun in this. I still have zero understanding why these people would ever do a heist or any kind of plan and not have him in there. We could have had Braden part of this. You know, there were plenty of avenues to go with that didn't include exposition for everyone.
But that's Teen Wolf's favorite thing, Dawn.
No, it isn't. Their favorite thing is that freaking slow-mo, which, again, it was like, let's watch Styles' shirt flap in the breeze.
Everybody's so over the slow-mo, and I'm like, it's still better than lens flares. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I love Styles. I love that he was excited to get Lydia. I love that it was him that got Lydia. I think that was important. But I still, whenever I see that, I just laugh at that slow-mo. I'm thinking, there is zero reason why we need to slow-mo this. None.
Oh, well, let's get to the episode awards. Let's see. Who or what was the MVP of this episode for you?
The MVP was teamwork. Because it wasn't just teamwork within the pack like it was last episode. This is teamwork between two packs, and it's the only way that it worked out. So I actually had zero problem with them teaming with Theo's pack in this one because it made sense, and it was what they needed logically to get Lydia out.
This is a toughie for me.
Sure wasn't the writing.
Ouch. I think I'm gonna go with small moments. I think that's what really helped bring up their grade in this episode. Unexpected small moments, like I talked about earlier. So that's what really saved it for me, and it was a nice touch because we hadn't gotten enough of that in 5A. So
I agree.
Let's see. Who was your favorite character, or who was your best or favorite character?
My character of the night is Lydia.
Okay. Let's see. I'm actually gonna give it to Mason. I liked Mason in this episode. I did, for a change. Like I said, they made him a little flawed and not so like selfless and gung ho, and I like that. I think that you just can't have a character like that, sugary sweet, giving me cavities.
Yeah. I agree with that. I will say that my second character of the night, and for me, in the end, they're tied, is Styles.
I understand that, definitely. I wanted to shake it up a bit. Gotta keep them guessing out there.
Okay.
Let's see. What was your best or favorite scene?
My favorite scene is Science Mom tasting Tracy to get Lydia away from her, but also it's Styles getting Lydia out.
Yeah, so. My favorite moment is definitely Natalie Martin with the taser and Tracy. My favorite scene is after Lydia starts breathing and everybody breathes a sigh of relief, and then Natalie comes creeping in.
Again, popping out like Creeper or Screamer. Seriously, I don't know.
Lines.
My favorite line. Number 1, Science Mom. Could somebody please get my daughter out of this hellhole?
Oh, definitely Styles for the win. I'm not paying for the windows.
That's number 2.
Or when he basically tells Theo that he's a piece of crap. A piece of fecal matter.
Well, the not paying for the windows is number 2, but number 3 for me is also Styles. Styles just wins everything here. Styles Snark is Styles just laying down some home truths to Teen Wolf when he goes, okay, you got to try and stay on your feet. The plan didn't work out so well, so we need your help, okay? Lydia, you had a plan? See, she's shocked, so, that's true. Styles, yeah, it looked good on paper. Not so much in reality.
Yep.
That's just Teen Wolf right there in a nutshell. We had a plan.
Looked good on paper, just didn't work out.
Now we have a new plan.
The most meta thing that ever happened on Teen Wolf ever.
Uh-huh. And then Mason's monologue about ramming the wall is my fourth favorite quote.
Nice. So a little birdie told me that you didn't have any little birdies to like.
I did not do tweets this time because I was exhausted. So I did manage to stay with my eyes awake throughout Shannara Chronicles, which was amazing. But that's as far as I made it. So sorry, guys. I just didn't even look at tweets this time.
Do you happen to know the ratings?
I can find it real quick. But do you want to go back to our episode awards?
Oh yeah, sure. Sorry.
Oh, do you have any?
No, not really. Other than worst hashtag ever puppy style, I don't ever want to see that again.
Yeah, I don't want that to. That just creeps me out. I'm sorry, but it does. Like, really? No, that's just bad. All right. So in that scene, it gets my "Oh, for the love of my eyes" award. Why the heck did we go from Lydia being taken to two kids screwing each other? What the heck, MTV? You suck. Then I've got the Pity Party of One award. Valak blaming the steampunk scientist for how much he sucks. He could not die fast enough in this award. Least effective security. Eichenhaus, seriously, all your security measures are suddenly just taken care of by turning off the electricity? How does that keep you from having a breakout when the lights go out? Ugh, that doesn't even make any sense. It's just dumb. Worst aim. Parrish throws Screamer at Styles instead of Valak. Good job, buddy. Good job. What the heck was that? Ugh.
Passive aggressive mirror shipper moment.
I don't know. It was annoying. I was like, what in the heck is that? Best bromance moment, Scott catches Styles. Love that part. Plus the little eye glances we got after Lydia came back to life. Best way to take down Theo. Apparently, trepanation drilled to the leg. Okay. Valak for the win on that part. And best preview. Styles runs around the tunnels like it's the last of the Maze Runner trilogy. What the heck was that?
Nice.
All right. As far as ratings go for this episode, we were down. We've been pretty much fluctuating between a 0.5 and a 0.4. This time we're at a 0.4. So generally, it's pretty much in the same place as the rest of them have been. As far as this season goes, highest was a 0.6, but coming back, the highest we've had is a 0.5, so a 0.4 is pretty much in the same ballpark. I would expect that Teen Wolf will be ending either in season 6 or season 7.
Yeah, season 7, that's what it's looking like, unfortunately. But I think that, sometimes a show evolves and grows to a point where there's, it comes to a logical conclusion. And I think Teen Wolf is one of those shows that can't just go on forever, mainly because it says Teen Wolf in the title.
Right. And, who really wants a show that continues on when your favorite characters are gone? So, we do not need to X-Files the show.
Yeah.
We can't Trying to change characters midstream in the X-Files killed it off, and it was always more popular than Teen Wolf, so... Yeah. There's no upside to making this somebody else's show. Give them season 6. Give them enough episodes in season 6, by the way. Make us all happy with the character interactions. Screw shippers everywhere. Just saying. And let's wrap this show up on a high note.
Definitely. That's the only hope that I have for Teen Wolf, is that it goes out on a high note. There's enough time for Jeff to do what he wanted to do for the ending. Mm-hmm. He's always had an ending in mind, and from what the interviews that I read, I don't think that it's changed, and so I think he should be given the opportunity to see it through, even though he is leaving at the end of season 6. So I think that is the perfect time to wrap up Teen Wolf.
I agree. I think that any show that gets to 5 years is pretty impressive anyway.
Yes.
But we don't need to make it go to 10. All of
especially
these.
on MTV, and it's not a reality show.
Right, right. Yeah, this has been a flagship for MTV. It's done its time. It's done what it needed to do. It's made MTV a place not just for
Jersey
reality.
Shore.
Yes. Basically, it rose MTV's reputation from that Jersey Shore fiasco. Not that ridiculous is helping anything, but
Hey man,
ridiculous.
5 minutes of that, and I've got my chuckles, and God, I hate humanity out of the way for the night. Is all that I'm saying.
10 seconds of that, and I'm thinking, yep, turn in the channel now. So,
um,
but anyway, it's a good run. They've done well. They need to stick with Scott and Styles being the focus. Make it so that those two are highlighted in the last one, in the last season. And, bring back some of the characters that we liked that just disappeared.
do we even have any of those? Pretty much everybody's dead or still a living, kicking villain.
Derek, Jackson, Danny.
Oh yeah.
There's
Well,
plenty of them.
good luck with that.
For some people, Isaac.
You know how that goes. So, oh yeah, I totally forgot that people actually disappear. I just assume they're dead when they don't show up.
I assume they're living it up the high life in Paris or in London with Jackson.
I did check out some reviews this week. TV.com remains my favorite thing. Oh my god. And it was like a bit of a turn this week than usual, and it still worked. It was a little bit more serious, and either way it goes, those reviews are really great. If you're on Tumblr, then you have to know prettiestcaptain.tumblr.com. I absolutely love their photo recaps. It is hilarious and pretty much feels like a fan discussion with pictures. That's always a good thing. And I think I liked AV Club over Den of Geek this week, so those are my top 3 picks.
Very cool.
And sorry that I fell asleep Tuesday night. I did not live tweet.
I noticed your absence, and I just figured that you were busy or you're going to do the West Coast. And since I fell asleep by the West Coast time, I was like, okay.
I fell asleep the whole damn time, East Coast through West Coast, and woke up like, oh, dang. So yeah, I apologize for that. I'll try not to let that happen for the rest of the season. So, I mean, we got what, 4 episodes left?
Yeah.
We find out who the Beast is, kind of, sort of, maybe next week, or is that the Allison? No, the Allison Argent is 5/18. What is next week?
Well, it's not phallic exposition, so
that's always a plus. So, I want to remind you guys to send in your thoughts and comments and whatnot to teamwolf.smgpod@gmail.com. You can tweet us your thoughts. 140 characters at a time still for some random reason at Beacon Hills Pod. And of course, you can find us on Facebook. You can like, comment, and share on our articles. Facebook.com/welcome to Beacon Hills. So just a quick reminder to rate, review, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcatcher service. We are on Stitcher, SoundCloud, Lisbon.com, as well as iTunes. We look forward to that.
Well, and we also want to encourage you to send us your thoughts about what you want to see in the last season of Teen Wolf. Are you ready for it to end in season 6, or are you wanting it to keep going? And would you be interested in a Teen Wolf that kept going if Scott and Styles weren't part of it? So just kind of shout us out your thoughts, and we might make that into a longer discussion later on.
Something in between the seasons, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds fun. I'm always up for that. So yeah, time for some shameless plugs. Of course, Dawn goes first.
And the best way to get to me, as always, is Twitter. That's at Dawn1. That's at DAHNE1. I do live tweet, so love to hear you. And usually I pull the best tweets of the night to share out on our podcast. I also do Team Wolf Bingo, so if you are interested in playing along with us, you can use it as a drinking game that's kind of dangerous. So we do what Mary says, eat a cookie. And those usually go up about 30 minutes before the episode airs. You can always get that link either by going to Twitter and getting it there, or you can get it on my blog, which is dawn1.blogspot.com. You can also catch me at Spoiler TV, where I do a weekly column on Mondays called Last Week in TV. I always review Teen Wolf, but I also review about 16 other episodes. So if you'd like to see kind of my thoughts on something besides Teen Wolf, you can check that out too. As always, we do encourage you to go to southgatemediagroup.com and check out the other podcasts we have. There's like 60, 80, 100, something like that podcasts there, including the one that I do with Kristen, which is called Red Shirted, the 100 podcast. So if you are watching the 100, please check us out. If you're not watching the 100, please check it out, because if you like Teen Wolf, chances are you'll love the 100.
Yeah, bigger stakes, people die.
Lots of people. Hence the podcast name.
As for me, you guys can find me on Twitter at Lil Hellfire. If you're on Tumblr, feel free to check out my URL. It's lilhellfire.tumblr.com. You can find my writings at one of three places: spoilertv.com, lilhellfire.com, and popculturepostmortem.com. So, I think that about does it for us this week, Dawn.
All right. Thank you so much for listening to 516 Liability. We really do appreciate you checking us out. And like I said, feedback is always welcome, whether you agree, disagree, or just want to discuss something in more detail. So, hope to hear from you. And as always, work together because, dude, it's Beacon Hills.
If you would like to donate to help pay for this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts, simply go to our website, southgatemediagroup.com, and click on the donate button. It can be as little as $1 or, well, as much as you want. Help keep this fun going by supporting this and our other shows. Thanks again for listening, everyone. You're the best fans in the world.